Welcome back to the deep dive. We're jumping straight into that really crowded, um, sometimes confusing space, the mid-range smartphone market.
Yeah, it's definitely busy. Today we're looking at the new Motorola G series phones, the G86 Power, the standard G86, and the G56, and putting them up against Samsung's latest mid-ranger, the Galaxy A56 5G.
Right. And our goal here isn't just, listing specs. We want to really get into the features, but also the trade-offs. What do they have to cut to hit that price?
Exactly, because that's the core question, isn't it? You need to know what each company decided to prioritize. Was it the hardware you feel right away, or was it something else, like how long the phone will actually last you digitally?
Okay, let's start with Motorola then. They dropped three phones, but the G86 Power 5G, that one seems to have a very clear mission.
Yeah.
What's the big story there?
It's all about stamina, pure and simple. The G86 Power is basically built around this enormous battery. We're talking 6,720 millimAh.
Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, you just don't see that spec on flagship phones no matter how much you pay.
That is huge. But, okay, pushback time. Is a battery that big just overkill? Does it make the phone bulky, heavy? Is that extra juice worth carrying around?
Well, that's exactly the trade-off, right? It is thicker, it is heavier than something like the Samsung A56. No getting around that. But the sources are clear. For someone who travels a lot or commutes or just absolutely hates being tethered to a charger,
Right.
this thing is a game changer. Reviews said it easily gets close to 2 full days of normal use. Some even said days of life. So if battery is your absolute number one, then yeah, the heft is probably justified.
Okay, but it's not just the battery, right? They didn't skimp too much on the screen, for instance.
No, they actually paired that massive battery with a pretty nice display. But the G86 and the G86 Power have a big 6.7-inch Super HD OLED screen. That P means plastic OLED, which helps keep costs down but still gives you those really deep blacks and vibrant colors.
And bright, too, I saw.
Yeah, surprisingly bright for this price. Like 4,500 nits peak brightness, that's really quite striking in the mid-range.
And they seem pretty tough as well. I saw some specs about durability mentioned.
Yes, another solid point. Minimal STD 810H certified and IP68, IP69 rated.
Okay, break that down. What does that actually mean for someone holding the phone?
It means it's built tough. Minimal STD means it's tested against stuff like drops and extreme temperatures. Basically, it can take a beating. And IP68, 69 means it's highly resistant to dust and water, think. It be in heavy rain, accidental dunks. It's not fragile.
Good to know. And processor-wise, same chip in both the G86 and the G86 Power.
Yep, both running the MediaTek Dimensity 7300. Seems capable enough for this class. And they share the same main camera setup too. A 50-megapixel Sony sensor and an 8-megapixel ultra-wide and a 32-megapixel selfie cam.
We should probably quickly mention the third one, the G56. That's the real budget entry.
Right, the G56 5G. Comes in around 200 pounds. That's where you see the bigger compromises. A less powerful chip, the Dimensity 7060, and crucially, it swaps that nice POLED screen for a standard LCD display. Still FHD plus, but not as punchy. It's your basic, no-frills option.
Got it. So back to the G86 Power and its massive battery. Charging, it's listed at 30 watts. With a nearly 7,000 mAh battery, is 30 watts actually, well, fast enough?
That's another key trade-off. 30 watts isn't slow per se, but yeah, when you're filling up a tank that big, it's going to take a while compared to phones with, say, 65-watt charging or more.
Right.
But the argument is because the battery lasts so long, potentially 2 days, maybe you don't need super fast charging quite as urgently. A quick top-up still gives you a decent chunk of power. Charging from 0 to full, though, yeah, that'll take some time.
Okay, so Motorola's angle is clear. Massive battery, tough build, decent screen. Let's flip over to Samsung. The Galaxy A56 5G starts around, what, $500, 500 power list price?
Yeah.
It seems like a very different philosophy. What are they prioritizing?
Totally different. Samsung's going for that premium feel, and this is the big one, long-term software support. You pick up the A56, and it just feels more expensive than it is. Aluminum frame, Gorilla Glass Victus, plus front and back.
So materials make a difference.
Definitely. It feels solid, premium. It's also slimmer than its predecessor, about 7.4 millimeter. Just feels nicer in the hand, according to reviews. Closer to a flagship experience, they said.
And the display. Samsung usually nails displays.
They do. It's a lovely 6.7-inch AMOLED, 120 hertz refresh rate, really bright up to 1900 nits peak HDR. Looks great. But honestly, the absolute killer feature, the thing that really sets it apart structurally.
Let me guess. Software updates.
You got it. 6 years of OS upgrades and security patches. 6.
Wow.
That takes this phone all the way to Android 21, theoretically. That is almost Google Pixel territory and way beyond what most mid-rangers, including Motorola here,
Wait,
promise.
hang on. So you could be looking at street prices that are pretty similar, maybe 250, 300 pounds for both. But one phone might only get one major Android update, while the other gets 6 years worth.
Exactly. That completely changes the value calculation over the life of the phone. It's not just about the upfront cost anymore.
That's a massive difference. But okay, to offer that premium feel and that incredible support window, what's the compromise? What did Samsung have to sacrifice? Performance.
Bingo. That's where the trade-off bites. It uses Samsung's own Exynos 1580 chip. Now, for everyday tasks, scrolling feeds, email, browsing, it's fine. Snappy enough.
Okay.
But benchmarks show it lags significantly behind competitors, including that Dimensity's 7300 and the Moto G86. And the reviews were pretty blunt. This is not a phone for serious gamers.
How bad are we talking?
Like, trying to run something demanding like Fortnite mobile performance apparently tanked.
Yeah.
Frame rates dropping down to like 11 frames per second sometimes. Basically unplayable for intense games.
Okay, clear line drawn there then, not for
Yeah.
gamers. What about the cameras? Samsung usually does okay here, but are there cuts?
It's solid, but not amazing, and mostly unchanged from last year. That 50MP main sensor is decent, but the secondary cameras, well, that 5MP macro lens got absolutely slammed in reviews.
Really?
Yeah, terms like junk, not worth using, just seems like a spec sheet filler. And apparently low light shots can sometimes get this weird purple tinge. So the main camera is usable, definitely, but the overall package isn't a major selling point.
Right. And charging. The A56 has a more standard 5,000 mAh battery, which is still good for all day, I assume.
Easily all day, yeah. 5,000 milliliters is pretty standard and plenty for most people, but the charging speed is a big plus compared to the Moto.
How fast?
45 watts. That's the same speed as their top-tier S25 Ultra. It can get you to 50% charge in about 24 minutes, which is really quick.
Nice. A
Yeah.
charger in the box.
Nope. Following the flagship trend, you got to buy that 45W charger separately if you want those top speeds.
Of course. Okay, any other software points on the Samsung before we try and wrap this up?
Yeah, just quickly, it runs Samsung's One UI 7, which is generally well-liked based on Android 15. And importantly, it gets some of those awesome intelligence AI features like Object Eraser for removing things from photos and Circle to Search.
Oh, like the flagships get.
Right, exactly. Those are genuinely useful day-to-day features that you usually only find on much more expensive phones. So that adds real value.
Okay, so we've laid out the two different philosophies here. Let's bring it together. How does someone listening actually decide between these two, especially if the street price ends up being pretty close?
Right, because that price parity is key. The launch prices were quite different, but deals mean you might find both the G86 and the A56, maybe the 256 GB models, hovering around that 250 pounds, 260 pounds, maybe up to 300-pound mark. So it really boils down to features, not cost.
So who is the Motorola G86 for? Particularly the power version.
Okay, the Motorola G86 value. This is for you if your number one absolutely non-negotiable priority is multi-day battery life. You need that 6,720 milliamp power model. You also value that great PLED screen and the rugged build quality, and it's a big but, you have to accept the very short software lifespan. Maybe only one major OS update. That means it might feel outdated or insecure much sooner.
A phone potentially built like a tank, but with a mayfly's digital lifespan. Okay,
Yeah.
Contrast that with the Samsung A56.
So, the Samsung A56 value, this is for you if you value that premium feel, the better materials, the faster 45W charging, and crucially, that incredible 6-year software support promise. You're buying a phone that's designed to last, digitally speaking, the trade-off. You accept less impressive gaming performance and a battery that's good for a day, maybe a bit more, but not the multi-day marathon of the Moto.
That software difference just feels enormous. One OS update versus 6 years? It fundamentally changes how long you can reasonably expect to use the phone securely. It really redefines what value means in the budget space, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It forces a very clear choice. Are you prioritizing the immediate tangible hardware benefit, that huge battery you feel on day one? Or are you prioritizing the longer-term structural benefit, the software security and updates that keep the phone relevant 5 years down the line?
It really highlights that mid-range compromises aren't just about what features you get, but maybe more about how long you get to keep using them safely and effectively. Which leads to a final thought.
If Motorola somehow decided to match Samsung's 6-year software commitment on something like the G86 Power, given its battery advantage and toughness, could the A56 even compete on value then? Something for you to think about as you weigh up your options for your next pocket computer.